Good afternoon, everyone. Let me get my stuff straight here, trying to pop out my chat real quick. Nope, that's not where you do it either. It's like that. There we go. And every time you pop your chat out, you go from top chat to live chat to top chat. You just have to make sure that you're reassessing your position every time you pop that chat out. How you doing, Bill? And Coin Dragon, thank you, sir. And here we go. We've got a 1954S. This is an old paper wrapper here. It just says 50 pennies 50 on it. It has manufacturer of the wrapper, but it doesn't tell you anything about where it came from. But we're okay with that. It's a very old roll. It's been like this for a long time. I'm hoping it's a BU roll. I've never seen inside of it, so I have no idea. I did buy it as a BU roll. Come on. I'll find the end of the tape here. There's the end of the tape. There, I got an end open. Let's see if this is a BU roll. And dun dun dun. Oh, it's wrapped with tissue paper. Guess what that means? We could run into a super toner roll here. See that? It's got tissue paper on the inside. Go ahead and peel this roll off of it. Arizona Coins, Party Pickle, Thomas Bill, Coin Dragon, Kelly Michaud, Wade Reynolds. Got a large crew here today. Waiting to watch me get this roll open so that we can go through it. They're wrapped in paper on the inside, so I'm assuming that that probably means they are definitely BU coins. So there was our wrapper on the outside. Let's take a look now and see what we get on the inside. Very carefully wrapped in tissue paper, folks. I love it when this happens. You never know what we're going to get on the inside, but it could be fantastic. Well, they are BU coins. Yeah, we got a little bit of color. They are 1954S. So nobody was fibbing to us. Hey, Randy. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this. Coin number one, Jeff Dunn. Let's see what we get with coin number one. Hang on a second. Let me try to get my stuff all straightened out over here. Don't want to be using my block. I want to use this and put the coin on it like that, and then focus into it like that. Get my okay. Now let's see what we have. Our first 1954S Lincoln cent from this roll. Now remember, there is a pretty nice double die for 1954S. We'll have to keep a watch out for that. Let me get this light adjusted just a little bit better so we can see things. There, that's quite a bit better. Okay, we got nothing on this coin. Nope, I don't see an RPM here. I'd love to see one, but I don't see one here. No, not a light box. Well, yeah, it is actually a light box. It's a dual fiber optic guide stuck to a halogen light box. Let me go ahead and set my exposure. That way I can get this box out of the way. Poof. Bye-bye box. There's a nice big marker right there. Big old die dot. But we have nothing going on this particular coin. The obverse. Let's take a look at the reverse real quick. This is what was facing outward to the tissue paper, and it does have some toning on it. Nice little bit of color going on here in a few different splotchy places. That's because of the folds in the paper. Alright, that's for Jeff Dunn. Let's take a look at the next coin now. Coin number 1 goes to Jeff Dunn. And move these out of the way so I can stack these. There we go. Coin number 2 now. Adam Chambers. Yeah, what do we have on coin number 2? Not an RPM. No doubled eyelid. They're nice clean coins though. They are very nice for 1954 S Lincoln cents. They're in great shape. Alright, let's flip it over and take a look at the other side. See what's on the other side. Oh, you like the thumbnail, did you? A filled S and an RPM, and how to tell the difference. Well, your filled S is going to be a broken out central part of the punch. It's going to let the metal flow into it, and it's going to look like it's extra metal, but it's really not extra metal. It's just the metal has flowed into a cavity in the die that should not be there. There's never actually extra metal on a coin unless something was struck into the coin. But an RPM is actually a doubled mint mark. So it's if the mint mark is actually doubled when they punch it into the die, then you have a doubled mint mark or a repunched mint mark, which is a completely different animal from a filled die. There you go. Here is coin number 3. And coin number 3 is going to bring us a nice little filled die. Now see here, there's a spot there in the lower part of the 5 that was actually broken out. And metal filled in that area, but it's not extra metal. It's just metal that belonged there to begin with. And it just pushed extra depth into the coin. There's another little break right there. Same thing. It's a little broken out piece of die. The metal pushed itself into that break in the die and created a hump on the coin. That's all we're talking about here. All right, let's take a look at the other side. It wouldn't highly surprise me not to find anything in this roll, but it also would not highly surprise me to find things in this roll because 1954 is actually, 1954S anyway, is actually a pretty good issue to be looking for repunch mint marks. There's one good double die, obverse. What you been missing, Wanda? Nothing yet. You're only 3 coins in. Nothing to miss. Grab yourself some popcorn, sit down and watch the show. Joe McBride next. Let's see what Joe gets. Yeah. Again, not seeing anything on this one. In the mint mark area. No eyelid. No doubling in trust. Nothing on Liberty except a few die cracks. And the reverse is going to prove to show us nothing at all. Okay. That's coin number 4. Next coin. You got a good feeling about this one, Eric? I hope so. Mike Birchman. Coin number 5. We need a couple of good feeling rolls. Okay. This one could be a very minor, could possibly be a very minor repunchment mark. You have a little bit of extra thickness in the upper curve, but I don't see anything that shows separation. So we're going to have to pass. We're going to have to take a pass on this one. This may be a progression of that other die, an earlier progression of the one with a break in the lower 5, because this one has less of a break in the lower 5. And it might actually have the same die crack on the head that formed into that little die chip. You'd have to be able to tell by looking at the markers, like these scratches, and matching it up. You've seen that 5, that particular 5 coin dragon? Turns into a fang later on. The Fanged 5. Okay, nothing else there. Let's take a look at the next coin. That's coin number 5 for Mike Birchman. Coin number 6 now. We'll go to Sureg. That's another one. Another one of the same die. We should have big die scratches coming down from the R. Yeah. The R and the T. So that's the same die again. And again, unfortunately, we have nothing to show. Let's see if there's any error. I need to move this out just a little bit so we can see more of the coin at once. Get this nice and focused in. There we go. There we go. We need to move around the coin just a little bit faster than we were there. All right. Nothing there. We're 6 coins down now. 6 coins down, 44 to go. Coin number 7 goes to Chase Carlisle. And see, there's one of the bigger breaks on the 5. I don't think it's the same die as that other one. I think it's a different die. Let's take a look and see what we get on the reverse side. So it's my job to make dinner this evening, and I've got chicken out, and I'm going to make some, probably make some jerk chicken. Do an islander dinner. Jerk chicken with a little bit of cassava root. It tastes pretty good. What do you guys think? Here's coin number 8. That 3 looked like that on my roll of 63D. Did you get a roll of 63D that had little cracks or breaks on it? There's another one. Wait a minute, what 3? This one is an RPM. It's a relatively minor RPM, but you can see it. Right there. Turn it around a little bit so it makes it easier to see. There we go. Something tells me I'm going to be going back through the roll picking out additional examples of this particular RPM. This is a later die state of an earlier RPM. I'm not sure which number it is exactly, but there's a good look at it. You has just a little bit of a separation on the inside of the upper curve, and then it has a doubled upper serif. I don't know about the lower serif. I'm not sure whether that's doubled or not. I'll flip it around and take a look at it. Come on, coin. Don't get lost on me here. I can't drive today. Somebody take my water away from me. I'm getting drunk. No split on the lower. Yeah, that extra nub on the center is actually part of the mint mark punch. I wouldn't really count that as part of an RPM or even a marker for an RPM, simply because those things are really common. Alright, so let's move on and take a look at the rest of the coin. This one's going to be held out. Belongs to Deanne. Little die crack headed across the forehead. Back this out some more. Get a better look at more of the coin at once. There we go. Okay, this one has at least a double die crack on the lower part of the coat. One right at the truncation of the shoulder, and then one up over the shoulder to the lapel. Let's see what we can find on the reverse on this one. There are no known double die reverses for 1954 Lincoln cents that I am aware of. Doesn't mean we shouldn't look. Protrusion at the bottom of the 9. Kind of protrusion at the bottom of the 9 is probably a die crack. Oh, that little nub thing. That's not doubling. It's probably a very small die chip. That's really all that could be. Very small die chip, possibly getting ready to start creating a die crack. Alright, now number 9, Mike Birchman. And Mike gets this one. Nothing I can see there. Let's flip it over and take a look at the other side. Okay, nothing going on there. And now for coin number 10. Doug Walters. So it's RPM number 1. Nice. So we have examples of RPM number 1 popping out of this roll. I'll have to go back with the big scope and take a look and see if I find more of them. I'm sure there's going to be more of them in the roll. Big die chip, or actually it's a big die dent right outside the chin. That'd be a nice marker for this if there was anything to mark. There's a die crack starting between the B and the E of Liberty that's going to end up making a buy. So this is probably a very early progression of a buy. Oh, there we go. Alright, let's take a look at this RPM again and get Deanne's coin number 8 back out. So we can take a look at the mint mark there around the mint mark. Is there a place that we want to see? Anything specific? Get a screen capture of your mint mark position right here. Top of the 9. Looks like there is a bit of a die crack on the top of the 9. Yeah. East side of the one. Turn it around in the light, get a better look at it. I don't see much of anything there. I'm kind of seeing die cracks on the 1 and the 9. Stage B to C. Do you have that die scratch coming up off the top of the 1? What else do we have here? Any other decent markers? We do have a bit of a ridge looking die crack running across the forehead. Looks like lightning. Die dot above the Y in Liberty. You know, I'm not seeing that. Doesn't look like it anyway. No, I don't see anything there. Nothing specific there. Does it mention the die cracks here? Because I have a couple of decent sized die cracks here. As if it doesn't mention these, then you probably don't have the right die. We can usually use this as a very nice marker to show us other examples of the same die. So we got that part straight. Now number 11, Yo Man. Yo Man gonna get one of these? Yo Man didn't get one of those, but what did he get? Well, there's a fill in the 9. But no RPM that I can see. I'm going to go ahead and refocus this, get really good focus on it. That's full focus right there. Move my lighting down so we get a little bit better look at it. And you see you got a little die crack inside the 5 there too. Well, let's see what else we can see on this one. I don't see anything on the eye. Nothing in the motto. Nothing on Liberty. Let's take a look at the reverse side. See what happens there. Nothing magical. Shantanu, not usually. I mean, smaller die chips, filled letters, things like that, they're kind of cool, but they don't really add any extra value. Farm Dog here. Is this one of our... This might be one of them. I can't remember what that die crack looked like specifically on the other one, but I don't see it on the S, though. It's the most important thing. Before you start looking around your coin for markers, make sure that you're also looking for the actual doubling. See, 9's got that little chip on the bottom of it again. So this one is the RPM. What else did I see on this? Set little. So it could be a die crack on the forehead. I keep moving around and see what I can see. Yeah, 4 looks flat, and that's probably because of the strike. But there is a die chip in the upper right corner of the crosslet, which is another really good marker. Did Deanne's coin have that? Let's check Deanne's coin again real quick. See if we had that. Yes, we did. It is there. Right there. So let's slide Deanne's coin over just a little bit and see. Okay. That die crack. I'm trying to establish a marker here, something I can use. I think that die crack is going to do it, but I'd like to have a second one just to be sure. Well, we do have a chip on the 4, and we do have the same die crack on the bust. So I'm going to call this one another example of the RPM, even though I can't really see the division right now in the upper S. I'll take a look at the reverse on this one, see if it has anything that we need to discuss. I have, so here's a die dot right there on below the A, right at the stem. I'll be able to use that on a future example if we see one. I have 3 reveals scheduled for today. Hopefully I'll be able to get through all 3 of them. I do have a bit of a toothache today, unfortunately. I have to go see a dentist sometime soon. But hopefully that doesn't overcome my ability to talk and do this today. There's another one right there. Another example of the same thing again. And this one I'm sure is going to go to Sissy. Yeah, Sissy Atwell. Let's check for our little, there it is, a little die dot below the A, right at the stem of the wheat. So we know we have another one here. So that's yet another example of the RPM. This one goes to Sissy. And Eric tells us these are RPM number 1, which that'd be really cool. Adam Connor next. Oh, there's another one of our kind of massive looking die breaks there. This one also has the chip in the 4. Very different die crack on the shoulder though. We've seen this die before. We've seen this die before in this roll. We're definitely talking about a roll from an original source. This is nice. It's fun. I enjoy doing this. Nothing else on this coin. A Christmas stocking 5. There you go. Mr. Fletcher. What does Mr. Fletcher get here? There's another one of the filled 9. This one does not have a chip on the 4. Yes, the wheat did have a die chip on that one. Die chips aren't generally something I stop at unless I'm looking for a marker for a specific die. Then I'll stop at die chips and take a look at them, because that helps you determine. That's a very permanent change to the die. So it's a very easy marker to use when you find them for other things that you're going to find on the die. But in and of themselves, they don't really have any extra added value. Mike Birchman. Let's see what Mike gets. Not one of our RPMs. Let's see if I flip this around and find maybe Could be a different RPM. I'm looking at the lower serif of the S. Nope, not seeing anything. I have to keep moving along. Nothing on the obverse. Let's flip it over to the reverse and take a look there. Nothing there. And on to coin number 17. Number 17 will go to Farm Dog. Not an RPM. Appreciate it, yo man. Thanks for stopping by. Hello, Joe. And Stephen Elliott. I have my little brain things for all of the people with whom I deal, so I can remember who is who, and so I can remember everyone easily. And it's just a little brain game I play. But Stephen Elliott, I will never forget him because of his last name matches the first name of the character on E.T. And so every time I hear Stephen Elliott's name, or I read Stephen Elliott's name, I think of that little creature saying, Elliot. I'm sure this isn't the first time you've heard that. We had nothing on that as the upper loop looked like it could have had a split, but it was actually just a hit on the mint mark. The ear is very weak. You talking about Lincoln's ear? It could be a strike issue, but I haven't really noticed it. Generally, your strike issues are going to show up on the reverse first. You have a really weak O of 1. Oops, come on. So this one's relatively strong. And then you could have a really weak AM of America. And these are quite weak. So flip it back over and take a look at the ear again. Yeah, the ear is somewhat weak. And that is due to a strike weakness. Alright, this one for Sissy. And we pass by 19 for Chuck Patillo here. See, and Chuck Patillo, for some reason, I always turn his name into Pillow. I think of the My Pillow guy. I don't know why. It's just how my brain does it. MyPillow.com. MyPatillo.com. It probably could have been a kneecap that I could have been thinking of, because his name sounds somewhat close to patella. Strike weakness versus wear due to circulation. Well, first of all, if your coin's all red, it's not going to be wear, because if you have a weak patch in a weak area and it's because of wear, your coin's definitely going to be brown. But if you do have a brown coin and you have a place that looks kind of iffy and you're looking to see whether that strike or wear, you have to look at the surface texture, the overall surface area of the coin, and see if there's a change. If it looks like it's been rubbed and rubbed down, then that's going to be wear. If it still shines like it's supposed to, and it looks kind of rounded like it's supposed to, and you're not really seeing anything that indicates wear specifically, you're probably staring at a weak strike. The other way to get used to figuring out which is which is you get these nice BU coins here. Some of them do have weak strikes, and you study them. You take a look at where is it weak. Where is it weak, and what does the weakness look like? You see all these little scars and scratches and stuff all over the coin here? Well, that is in part due to a relatively weak strike. And so if you see these on a brown coin, but you can't see any flat wear, then you probably don't have wear. You're probably just looking at a coin with a softer strike. If the strike is weak on the front and back, it's going to be, I guess, just a weak strike, because you're not going to have a coin with a strong strike on the obverse and a weak strike on the reverse. That's just impossible. Both sides of the coin are struck at the same time, meaning that your weakness is going to reflect on both sides, or strength of the strike is going to reflect on both sides at the same time. Hey, LAP coins. All right, got CVS coming up next. Up next on CVS. Okay, I'm not seeing anything on this one. I may flip it, take a look at the other side. Got a little bit of a spot over here. I'm rather surprised, pleasantly surprised, with the condition of the coins in this roll. They've pretty much, for the most part, they've turned out to be pretty nice. I didn't get the toning that I was kind of hoping for because they were wrapped in that extra paper that I hadn't expected. But you don't always get what you ask for. Sometimes you just get what you need. This looks like it could be one of our RPMs. No, not one of the RPMs. This is the other die that has a little chip on the 4. I guess the chips on the 4 were kind of common. Hello, Ida. Miss Ida Herring has come to visit and grace us with her presence. I hope things are going well for you, Ida. Yeah, I'm finding nothing there. On to coin number 23 now. We are now just now getting to be halfway finished with this roll, just about. To speed up just a little bit here and get through these just a little faster, because I do have dinner to make, and then I have another reveal coming up. I got to get dinner done and eaten. Take care of my family. My dog has gotten into the habit where he will eat the exact same food if I fix it that he will not eat if my wife fixes it. It's weird. So I have to fix his food. He won't even go to the bowl and smell. She can make the food, and he just kind of wanders off like, oh, well, I missed that meal. But then when I make it, he runs right over and chews into it. That's actually a little fleck of metal laying on the coin. That would come off if I took a little Q-tip to it. It would come right off. Looks like it could be a piece of a rim burr. And on the other side, come on. Nice looking scratches there on the reverse. That would be a heck of a good, wow. That'd be a huge marker for something. Unfortunately, we got nothing to mark. That one goes to Jim Fletcher. That's right, it's just like when I sit down on the floor to play with him or to hug on him. He gets all excited and starts wagging, but he won't come to me until he goes and gets a toy to bring to me. He's going to bring me one of his toys because he wants me to enjoy it. He wants me to have fun. So it's kind of a show of care. Oh, nothing there. Here now at 26, Joe McBride. Texas Joe, here's what's happening. I'll give you a good explanation. So we are going through a roll of coins that have already been purchased by the audience. They were purchased at a Tuesday night auction here on the Copper Coins channel. And every individual coin in the roll was sold with nobody, including myself, knowing exactly what each coin would look like because the roll was sealed. The roll came to me and I sell the roll and then I open it after it's sold. I sell the 50 individual coins to the audience. They bid on the individual coins, and then I make 50 random flip inserts, which is what you're seeing over on the right-hand side of the screen. And I put the names of the people who got the 50 coins onto the insert, and then as I go through the roll, I show the next person's coin. So this next coin is going to belong to one of our people called Yeoman Gull. And this is the coin, the next one off the roll that Yeoman will get. Has a nice little break in the 9. Pretty nice looking 1954 S Lincoln Cent. I think we did this roll at $3 per coin. So for a $3 coin, hey, there is a big die dot above the Y. Huh, that's interesting. You got one of the markers for a different die on this coin. And then we always look at the obverse and the reverse of every coin just to see if there's anything that might need to be discussed on the reverse. And this is what we do. Plus we go through a little bit of educational discussion and other kinds of discussion, like what kind of gas grill should I buy, or what's the weather like in northern Minnesota. Those are the kinds of things we talk about. Not always 100% coins. And we just have fun doing it. So Texas Joe, does that make sense? Here's Techstar's coin. Looks like we got the same die again because we've got the break in the 9. Shanta, are you taking off? Okay, well, we got nothing on that side of that coin. Now, if you want to be involved in this process, you'll have to register with us first, because we can only sell things to people we can bill, and we can't bill you if we don't know who you are. And so the way that works is you send us an email at coppercoinspayments, all one word, coppercoinspayments @gmail.com. Send us that email, and with that, send us your real name, your YouTube username, and the email address that you use for PayPal. It will get you registered for free and immediately. And then tomorrow, when we have our auction, we can sign you up, get you in, and you can purchase spots in these rolls, along with bidding on auction items, which we will also have. These spots in these rolls sell for generally between $1 and $3 or $4 per coin. Yes, I did buy the John Deere, Mr. Eubanks. I did buy it. I do have it. I've used it 3 or 4 times now. I had the steering linkage broke on it right above the mower deck. And I found myself out in the middle of my driveway, laying down on the ground, working on trying to get the cotter pin back in the linkage. The cotter pin fell out, and the steering linkage fell apart. And I had one wheel going one way and the other wheel going the other way. That wasn't very fun, especially considering it was a John Deere. It's supposed to be one of your real high-end mowers. And it fell apart with me just trying to steer it. That wasn't good. Yeah, we've seen this die before, so I'm just kind of taking a look again just to let everyone get a good look at the die chip in the upper wheat there. That's a broken out piece of the die, left an area basically unstamped on the planchet. So it looks like it's raised metal, but it really isn't raised. Not by much anyway. These coins are in fantastic condition. There's some really nice ones in here. Another one for Techstar here. Not finding a whole lot of the RPM that we found early in the roll. I'm still watching for those markers to pop back up again. And I'm not seeing anything. That's right, we got bugs in the wheat. Big old bug. Got nothing going on there either. Unfortunately, that's coin number 31. Let's move on to number 32. Number 32 is going to go to CVS. Let's see what coin number 32 looks like. Hey, we got another RPM. Glad to be there. This one's pretty. Does this one have it has the dot above the Y. Maybe that other one is a different die. Let's take a look. It could very easily be a different die. This is the first time we've seen this one. That is RPM number 1. There you go. This is RPM number 1, folks. Let's get a really good close-up look at it. And there you go. That's RPM number 1. James, I purchased it from another person, actually. I didn't purchase it from a dealer at all. But the linkage pin was the original one. I thought I had lost a linkage pin. I actually created another one. I was going to use the one I created. And then as I was digging around, I actually found, oof, this one's got a spot on it. But it is RPM number 1. A die crack running basically right across the forehead, then pointing down to the eye. Let's take a look at the other side. See what we can see there. But I got nobody to blame on that. I mean, it's a moving part. Stuff happens. whomever sold the gentleman who sold the mower to me was probably not used to making sharp turns in a deep ditch like I was doing, which could have caused my issue. I'm okay with it. Okay, that's definitely a different RPM, so we're going to pull it off to the side. Different little pile. And coin number 33 goes to Wanda. We all know exactly what I think when I see Wanda's name. And here we go. This one's the one that has a little break between the B and the E. You can see that there's little things starting to turn into cracks that are eventually going to bust out and make a BIE, a by error. I bought the mower from an individual because it was $1,000, where generally and normally that particular type of mower was selling for between $1,800 and $2,500. Well, I decided to jump on it. There's a very weak AM. See those lines that are moving? Well, basically side to side as you're looking at it right now. Side to side on your screen. And all of those lines were little lines that were already in the planchet before the planchet was struck. So all of those lines did not completely strike out of the planchet because it wasn't struck hard enough to strike all those little lines out of the planchet. So not only was the mower only $1,000, where the mower would generally be $18 to $25, but I also got the grass leaf attachment, and that's usually another $400 or $500, and it came with the mower. I think I did a pretty good deal on it. Requires some maintenance, just like any mower is going to. Well, I got nothing on the obverse on this one. Let's flip it over and take a look at the reverse and see if there's anything on the reverse that we need to speak about. Almost an hour into the show. We're at coin number 34. I need to move along just a little bit faster when we find stuff that's normal. So I will stop when I run into something that I see as being different or odd or something we need to discuss. But otherwise, I'm going to kind of flip through this a little bit faster than we've been going. You're going to have to fire spell check. I fired spell check a long time ago. I never even really got started with spell check because I've always been very careful about my spelling. I was born before spell check was invented, so I didn't have it for the first 15 or 20 years at least. I was learning how to write, and well, I didn't really need it once it did come around because I had already had spelling beaten into my head. Hello, Jessica. We got some RPMs. Got RPM number 1 plus a different RPM that Eric has not been able to identify as yet, I don't think. Blame your fat fingers. Here's an odd one for you. Now, I moved the first week of August, and since then I've been walking the dog out in the country a little bit more. I've been watching a little more what I eat, and we no longer have a house guest that we had at that time. And all those things together have evidently added up to weight loss for me. Because when I moved into this house, I weighed 247 pounds. Now I weigh 222. So I've lost more than 25 pounds, right at 25 pounds since I moved into this house. That's been 3.5 months. 3.5 months. So that's a pretty healthy amount of weight loss over that period of time. I feel better. I don't know exactly what I'm doing that's right, because I'm not doing that much different. It's not like I'm on a diet or anything. There was a time that I did do a quote-unquote diet. I basically went vegetarian. I stayed that way for almost 4 years. But when I went vegetarian, I dropped from about 240 down to about 205. I stayed there for a while. 205, I'm actually almost down to military weight. $350 to $175. You lost almost half yourself. That's great. Actually, that would be half yourself. $350 to $175. I've been kind of just walking the dog, going out and doing my thing. I've burned a big brush pile out in my backyard and been taking care of my yard and been going up and down the street. Wife wants to buy bicycles. I'm all for it. Let's buy bicycles and go up and down the street. I think part of my issue was COVID. And, well, at first COVID just kind of locked me in, so I went to the grocery store and piled up, and I just sat there and ate. But in the second half of COVID, I kind of realized that just sitting around eating, second half of COVID, we're not really out of it yet, are we? What is this over here? Okay, that's just a reflection. I thought that might have been doubling. The more recent months of COVID have kind of taught me that with what comorbidities I have, weight is one that I can easily control, because I have a little bit of a blood pressure cholesterol issue, which I don't really understand because I don't eat crap food, but a little bit of a blood pressure cholesterol issue, and I also have a bit of a diabetic issue. This is another one of our RPMs, isn't it? I do believe. See, the RPM part's actually hard to see, but it is one of them. You've got the die crack, or the die chip in the outside upper part of the 4, and then you've also got those 2 die cracks running across the coat. One right across the truncation of the bust, and one right across from the lapel to the shoulder. So we've seen this die before. This one is definitely not die number 1, I don't think. I just kind of decided that getting out and doing something would at least help me limit my risk to the deadly effects that some people have had of the COVID virus. Should I ever catch it, I would like to live through it and live through it healthily. It completely trashes some people, and other people don't even have symptoms, so we still don't really understand exactly what's behind that, but we do know that having comorbidities often plays a role in that. There's another RPM. Can see it a little better if I get it under the scope here. Now, let me turn it around. Oh, come on. I know I saw it. Maybe I didn't. guess I did not. Yeah, I did. That's an RPM. I'll just pull it out to the side and I'll prove it to myself later. But if I do this, I do this, and I do this, and put it right here, now I'm just looking at the exposure in that small area, and it appears to be a separation line running right across the S, and I think there's a little bit of a serif issue going on here. I'm going to hold this out. I can't prove right now that it's an RPM, but it does appear to be an RPM. So let me flip it over and take a look at the other side, and I'll hold this one out for Joe and see if there's anything on it. Oh. Go back out to normal view mode. Now, for those of you who don't visit often or who are new here, I use a regular stereo optical microscope, which is why sometimes I get flashes like that. It has a digital camera hooked up to the trinocular scope end of the microscope, the eyepiece, the trinocular eyepiece. And sometimes I get, kind of marks on the image that turn things pure white for just a few seconds. I can't do anything about it because it's just the nature of how the camera works. But you'll also find that at times I'm out of focus and I need to change my focus. Well, that's part of the nature of the beast. About what time do I estimate the reveal tonight will be? I'm looking at attempting 7 o'clock, but I think I'm going to have to move it up to 7:30 and then take the third one and move it to tomorrow, because we are running over on this and I still have to prepare dinner. And it looks like we're about done finding the different RPMs that we're going to find out of this particular roll. I'm up to coin number 42 now. Adam Chambers. Ooh, there's a struck through thread. This was struck through a little piece of thread or something. Part of how you can tell. I don't care about time when it comes to education. We always do it. Got to do the education part. You notice how this funny shaped little thing here is indented into the coin. However, there are no places on the outside of that indentation that show raised metal, which means this happened while the coin was being struck, and it's not a scrape that happened later. This was something that was struck while the coin was sitting on the die, and it is small enough that it's probably just a piece of fiber. It's like bag fiber or some sort of fiber laying on the coin when it was struck. That's what this is, and they're pretty neat. You don't see them very often, not this size anyway. This one's a pretty nice size one. Let's take a look around and see if there's any others, because sometimes there's more than one on the same coin. No, nothing else. But it's definitely there. Very nice. Adam Chambers gets this one. Now 43. Coin 43 goes to Wade Reynolds. I think Wade had to... Oh, Wade is here. Okay, I thought Wade had to back out on us. But he is here. Let's see. We got nothing there. Nothing on the eye. Nothing on the motto. Nothing on Liberty Bibbity. Well, let's go take a look at the other side of the coin. A lot of really heavy die scrapes on this one. This is one of those ones that's got the very heavy die scrapes on it. You know that they're die scrapes because they are raised on the coin. Whereas that thing below the M, that's actually sunken into the coin. That's a hit on the coin, as is the top one below the Eye of America. You can see that the shadows are in opposite directions on those, and that's how you can tell. The shadow on the top, since the lighting's coming from the top, means that one is a cavity on the coin, which was a hit to the coin. Now the ones with the shadow on the bottom, those are actually raised on the coin. You can't damage raised metal onto a coin. It had to have been done while the coin was being struck, and that damage had to have been to the die, not to the coin itself. All right, that's coin number 43, now 44. Coin number 44 goes to Sissy Atwell. Let's take a good look at coin number 44. And it looks like Sissy's going to get an RPM. Sissy's going to get one of our RPMs. You've got the two die scratcher, or die cracks, I mean. In the lower coat, you've got the break in the little die chip in the upper right part of the 4. And you can see just a little bit of doubling on the outside edge of the S. So this is going to be one of our RPMs. I'm going to hold it off to the side, get it identified and marked with a new flip insert. And it's somewhat likely that one of these coins from this die will end up being photographed for the coppercoins.com website. If it is photographed for the coppercoins.com website, you will receive it with a new flip insert either way, but you will definitely receive it with a new flip insert that mentions that this coin is a plate coin for the website, and it will be hand signed by yours truly. Hand pen signed by yours truly with my very own right hand. How's that sound? Sounds like a big bonus plus, right? Well, I appreciate you guys allowing me the opportunity to use these coins for my website. Helps out a lot. This is what one of them looks like. This is a plate coin designation right here. Let me get it moved so that you can see it. And that was all handwritten by me. And that's what yours will look like if you happen to have the spot in the roll that has a nice looking repunchment mark or double die that needs to be added to the website. And this one is a nothing, unfortunately. See you later, Wade. So yeah, I'm going to try to do a 7:30 appearance. It's going to be 2 hours from the time I finish this. I'm going to finish this here in the next 3 minutes or so. And I'm going to go ahead and do my show closing now because I'm going to rather abruptly sign off when I get finished. That was lamination peel. That's what this is. A little bit of lamination. Basically, the layers of metal on the coin didn't quite stick very well, and little extremely thin layers of metal popped off the coin after it was struck. That's what looked weird about that. There we go. Let's see. But I appreciate everyone stopping by today. We will have a reveal at 7:30 this evening. Here's another one of our RPMs. 7:30 reveal this evening. I'm going to go ahead and change the time on it as soon as I finish the broadcast, and I'm going to run downstairs and start working on dinner. 7:30 reveal tonight. Then we will not have another reveal until tomorrow. So we'll have 2 reveals to do tomorrow. And then tomorrow night will be the auction. Don't have a whole lot in the auction this time. There'll be 20 to 30 lots. Some decent stuff, a few rolls, and then some reveals. For those of you who have not yet been involved in the reveals, you need to come by and take a look. At the end of the auction, we do the reveals. Okay, sissy. Thank you much. And here is number 49. 49 will go to Chase Carlisle. Yeah, but here's the thing, Jess. That 29 number came from Wexler's website, so you'd have to make sure that the die that we came up with is not listed on Wexler's website. So then we could have number 30. Got nothing there. That's coin number 49. Now for coin number 50. Last coin in the roll, and I will be signing off when I get finished with this coin. And who is this for? Doug Walters. One of our relatively new participants. Doug gets this coin. It's not one of our RPMs. It's just a little bit of toning. Facing that paper for all those years. Not a die variety on the obverse. Let's take a look at the reverse real quick. And I've seen this die before. It has that big dash mark above the E. So we have no die variety on this side either. And that does it, folks. That's all 50 coins. I appreciate you dropping by. I'll see you in a couple of hours. We'll get on this other roll. What do we have next? Let's see. 211, 212. What's 212? 212, I do believe, is... There it is, 53D. Okay, we'll be doing 212 a little bit later on this evening. I appreciate it, folks, and I will talk to you later.